Let's take a look at how to create your own bevels. Let's show you how to jump in, get started, show you how the drawing window works, everything like that. All right, so the first thing is once you come into Pro Animator or Invigorator, click on the modeling button right here. That'll give you something that looks pretty much like this. The only other thing that we're going to do is show the material dock. So you see right now it's sort of hidden. So click on Material Dock, the tab for that, and drag it down so you see the yellow line right there. If you drag it too far, you get a yellow line across the whole thing. Don't do that. Lift it back up just a couple of pixels and you'll see the small yellow line. Drag it right to there. And then let's pull this one up about to here, and then right here click and drag this up until you see just a little bit below that line. Okay? That way we'll be able to see the splits and the docks and the drawing window and the object controls all at the same time. So next, from the Object tab, let's create some 3D text and type in fun. Now select that, and I've got a font here called it's called Super Clarendon, but there are some other things. It's sort of like Rockwell, I think it is another font that looks pretty much like this. So let's take this guy and let's see, plain, bold will probably work fine, and then let's increase the spacing a little bit just so that we can get some spacing. All right, so click OK and you get the word fun, and I'm going to hold down the camera and the track key, and then when we zoom in and then rotate around, you know, there's a space bar. If you hold down space bar, it turns it into the track key and lets you move it around like that, and then releasing the space bar switches it back to whatever other tool that you have. So you see when it starts off, you just get this simple bevel. It looks pretty simple, very plain. This edge right here can be fixed by changing preview. Normally you see when you hit render it comes out nice and smooth. That's because it's using the final quality. So by switching preview up to about the same thing as final, you'll see it at all times. We allow you that so that you can make things run faster and use fewer polygons as you're going along. Anyway, so now when we're working at this, the first thing I want to show you is how to do a basic fill and stroke. Okay, as soon as you apply material, if you do something like this, it's just going to apply it to everything, and you don't get quite that standard fill look. If you come over here to the material splits and the material docks, you could take another color and drag that over here to the outside edges, and that'll give you a two-color look, which is cool, but it's not the standard fill and stroke look. So let me start off with that, because everything sort of builds on top of this. You go to Object Controls and come down here to where it says Outer Bevels, and then you come here to Inset Face, and you pick the one called Outline. Okay, so what Outline is a very standard fill and stroke. So you can use the bevel scale control right here to fatten the outline up or thin it down. Okay, and you can adjust it. Now notice that this isn't changing the depth at all. If you change the depth, it proportionally scales the outline too. So just be aware of that. But if we start off right here and then we adjust the bevel scale, you get the standard sort of an standard two-color fill and stroke look. So that's one that a lot of people just sort of miss as they're working and learning the program. The next step beyond this is to add an indentation right here, and that adds an extra cool look. And to do that one, you get the next item down, and that one is called Outline Box. So if you choose Outline Box, you see now there's a little edge to that stroke. So if we zoom in here and take a look at this, you see now you have that nice little edge. Again, you can adjust the thickness of the stroke, the thickness of that edge with the bevel scale, but you notice it's not making it any deeper. And in order to make it deeper, we need to step into the world of custom bevels. Now this down here, again, I'm holding spacebar to slide this up, and then I'll just drag this corner to make it a little bigger. If you miss the corner and get this cursor, it'll let you move this box around. If you don't like it in the lower right, you can move it anywhere else you like. But then this cursor right here, if you click right on the edge, you see it lets you resize the profile drawing window. So this is what the outline box profile looks like. That's what the bevel looks like. So there's that indentation right there. You see there's the front view. This is like a top view if you were looking at the a cross section right through the middle of that U, that's pretty much what you would get. You get this nice little cross section cutting right through one of those pieces. Okay, so in order to make it thicker, we step into the world of custom bevels. So this is where you would draw the custom bevels. Now, when I click in this window, it's going to give me a message the first time I click that says this bevel is locked. Would you like to create a copy? Say sure, why not? Let's do this custom fun bevel. Cool. All right, we do that, and now you see where it says outer bevels, it now says custom fun bevel. This can be found inside of your user drawn bevels category. It's just going to add it to the bottom of the list so you can come back to it whenever you want to use it again and again. Now, to work with this bevel, it's a standard type of drawing. Okay, so we're going to come here and select the point and grab the point select tool. Now when it holds my space bar, I can move this around, let go of my space bar. Space bar and control will let me zoom in and zoom out. So you see if we zoom in on this, you see there's a little edge highlight right there, which if you zoom in real tight here, you'll be able to see that. You see there is a nice little dark edge right there, and then it shows up bright right there. A lot of these profiles have this tiny little edge built into it. It does add polygons, but the program renders really fast, and then you see it adds a nice extra highlight to what's going on. So if you're going to make this indentation deeper, you need to take this front edge and pull it out further. All right, so we do this by dragging a marquee around both those and selecting all those little points. Now this gives us a bounding box, and let me explain this bounding box for a minute here. Okay, if I selected all three of these, all these points along the edge, you see it's getting points up from here and down here all at the same time. So when the bounding box is large enough that you can put your arrow right in the center of it, it lets you then move these guys around. Okay, just like that. So that's fine. But when your points are very, very close together, the bounding box is really teeny. And sometimes if you only select like two tiny points like that, well, that's pretty much it. If the bounding box is too small to grab a hold of, then we give you this extra little rectangle. You see this sort of open space right here is a click point where you can click on, it's like clicking in the center of your bounding box so that you can move it around just like that. Now if you click here, it will rotate things. So anywhere inside of this half a circle, we'll put a rotation on it here. And in the center of the bounding box is a pivot point. So based on wherever you put this pivot point, you're going to rotate around the pivot point. So you can put it here, you can move it out here, you can put it right there. You see it's going to always rotate around wherever that pivot point is. Now the cool thing is, you see as we're moving this around, every time we let go, you see it remodels the font. It remodels our bevel over here. So you can make a change and take a look. Make another change, take a look. So it makes it very easy, very interactive to work with and create some really fast modeling results. Okay, so let's take this guy and put him about right there. You see it's already creating sort of a cool look. It's taken us to the next level already just because we are playing with it and getting these nice off-axis bevels now. So that's starting to look pretty cool. But let's make it look a little bit neater. All right, so let's see. We've got this right now. Now notice all we've been moving are everything's just been moving in straight lines like this. So what we can do though is we can move these little points around like this, and say this one I don't want this one. All I have to do is double click on it. So if I do that, it deletes it. If I do want a point where there is no point already, I can just double click on the line and that will add a point to it. Okay, just like that. So this allows you to do really quick modeling manipulations. So when we do this, we now have a nice point on the top. All right, so that's starting to look pretty cool. And this path doesn't have to be made of straight lines. It's a Bezier path. So if I go over to my Bezier tool, I can start drawing with the Bezier tool or use my convert direction point. So I'm going to take this guy here and convert him into a rounded edge, and that is going to give us this really cool rounded edge right across the front. Wow, that looks really neat. So so there you go. I mean, that's worthy of being done for a lot of occasions. But let's look at what else we can do with this, okay? So right now, the front looks good. The depth is pretty good. But the side is pretty plain. So what can we do with the side? Well, let's see. You know what? Also, let's do here. Let's go to some material swatches and let's drop maybe some brick on the front of that. That looks pretty cool. Okay, good. Now, the side of this is a little plain. So what can we do with that? Well, let's see. Let's try this. Let's go here, and if I double click on this line, there we go. If I double click on this line, it's going to add a point. So if we do that and pull this out, that looks sort of cool. Let's see. You know what? Let's take this point, and I'm going to convert this one too. Now remember, the last point that I selected, the last Bezier tool, was this convert direction point. So with my arrow tool selected, all I have to do is hold down on the let's see, what is it? The Option Alt Command. One of these guys. Oh, you know what? It works backwards. There we go. Command is going to give it to me right there. So I can adjust this guy and give that a nice sort of indentation. That looks pretty neat. What else could we do to this? You know what? The one thing that's really cool about this is being able to split it up into multiple pieces. So we can create a stacked look pretty easily by doing this. Follow along with me here. If you let's double click here also, and we will create it about like that. And let's convert the direction point on it. Okay, so now we've got that double edge right there. That is neat. And what else? So now let's take this guy and let's pull him out like this. And when we do that, you see it's going to sort of separate it into this double stacked group. You see what's going on there? This little edge, that little bubble thing, is that guy right there. And then it hits a corner point and then undercuts like that. You know, we could increase this a little bit, sort of push the edge, pull that in more, get more rounding to it. Let's pull this guy. He actually has he doesn't have any anchor points. So let's pull some anchor points out on him. Let's see. Let's do it like this. And then still with the convert direction tool, we'll pull this back out and get an anchor point on the other side too. Okay, and undercut that side. All right, so now that is looking pretty cool, pretty fancy. Now notice one of the things that's happened here is that it started to fill in this area. Okay, and that's probably a result of this being too small for this ginormous edge treatment that we've got. So to fix this, what we do is we come down here to edge offset, and we can just move that to the left and pull that in a little bit. Okay, you see, so that's going to thin it out. The other thing we could do, of course, is just pick the plain version of the font. Let's type 0 in there. Alright, so with this tool we can just double click on the text, open it back up, and then go back to plain and see what we get. Okay, yeah, that cleaned it up just fine. Okay, I've got the same thing happening to the N. So let's edge offset this a little bit. And okay, so that's working a little better. You know, one other thing that we can do to this too is just adjust the font. right. So, oh, I see what's going on. Our preview got set back to 20. That'll usually clean things up as well. Okay, so there we go. Edge offset, pull that down. Nice. Okay, perfect. Great. Now, let's play with some materials. Oh, you know what? Something else I want to show you here too. We've been working with these double stacks here, all these multiple stacks, but they don't have to be all attached to one custom bevel. Watch this, for instance. If I take this and I can go up here to our drawing tools and draw a circle. And if I put a circle, say like I put a circle clear out here, that's going to add that onto the material. So let's see, let's take that and put that material, say like right there. And now you see we end up with this sort of tube piece all the way around it. But we don't have to put it there. What we can do is move it. Now that I've got more than one path, each one of these is a path drawn on the same bevel. Whoop. There we go. I have to switch to the path tool. This is the object selection tool. If I click on that, it's going to move the entire thing. Okay, and that's no good. This is the point select tool. Now I could select individual groups like this and move them around. That would work. The path select tool is sort of a quicker way of doing this. You select this and then you can click on a path, and it's only going to select one path at a time. And like this, and then I can move this down. Say I put it up down here in front of the word itself. Yeah, so now we've got this. That's starting to look pretty neat. Good. And you know what? That sort of gives me an idea. This double stack thing here. Let's separate that so we can color it. Right now it's a little hard to see, and it doesn't give us the full effect of what the double stack is doing. So what we do for that is come over here to our splits area, and same sort of thing. I can zoom in on this, and what the splits area is going to do is let us split the profile into multiple parts. This is our split tool, so you select that and then you can click on this. You see now it turns it into two number twos. If I click on it and pull it off, you only get one. So let's see, for instance, if I load this in and then I start to drag this up here, you see it's going to affect the entire side, right? And we don't want that. So if I click on it right here, it now gives me two docking areas to drop our material onto. So I can put it on the front half or I can put it on the back half. So it's really not going to matter at this point. If I put it right there, you see it's going to affect the whole part. But what I'm going to do is drag it down so it just hits that intersection right there. And then I'll put another split right here at that same intersection on the other side. So at this point, then I'll recolor this here, and we're now left with blue, gold, and blue. So here we go. That's what it ends up with right over here. The cool thing about this is that these splits you see are live. If you click and drag right from the nose, you see look over here in the 3D window. As I'm dragging over here in the splits area, you'll notice that you can see that little guy moving back and forth. So you don't have to build new geometry. It does it all for you underneath the hood, and then it allows you to put in the sort of details that you might want. Okay, so at this point it's looking pretty good. One thing, oh, you know what? That the tubing just isn't far enough in front. So let's take this, and remember we're looking at this from a top view, so we're just going to drag it down like that. And you see the further down we drag it, the further out in front it comes. And now we have quite a distance on that. That's starting to look so cool. And let me show you how to build a sort of a luminescent tubing type look. Okay, here's how we do that. We go over here to our material editor, click to bring up the editor, and then do new material. And then down here where it says absolute Fresnel, turn on absolute Fresnel. That's going to give us two color swatches. So for the first color swatch, let's this will be the center of the glowing color. So let's put this up here, maybe have it bright yellow. Okay, like that. And the second color here is going to be the outside edge. So let's make that sort of a darker red. Something like that. There we go. So now we've got sort of a glowy color look to it. The next thing is to control where this crossover is going to happen. So if we take this, and remember we're going to apply it to the tube, so that's down here in dock number 3. So if we take this, well, we could drag it into dock number 3, but at this point the yellow is actually a live area over here, so I don't even need to drop it into the docking area. I can drop it directly onto the model like that. Okay, so there we go. So at this point you see the yellow is way too much and there's not enough red on there. So if we click this little button right here, it gives us the Fresnel options. And I think we're looking for the edge fall off. So if we set the edge fall off up to 3, what does that do? That is going to probably give us a little, oh no, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, ooh, that looks cool. Okay. All right, so that's basically it. I suppose we could clean up the back end right here. The back doesn't quite match, so we can select these guys. Oops, I'm on path control, so I need to switch back to point control. And so we can do this and then slide this. See there, I grabbed the pivot point. Slide this guy up a little bit. And what do we do over here? We put this in the center, deleted one of those guys. Let's zoom in on this. And then I think we turned this one into a curve, right? So we do go here, and we'll pull this out about like that. And that should give us something pretty close to the same. Oh, you know what? It's just not matching up. Oh, I see. There's quite a bit of difference here between these two. So let's pull this one up here, pull this one out to there. Oh, also notice as I move this along, it increased the length of the arc, and it moved these guys. So these split points you see are now in the wrong position. See, they're not there anymore. So to move a split point, click right at the nose of the arrow, and that'll let you grab it, and then you can slide it down here. And this guy we just left. We forgot to leave it sort of tucked into its own little place. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Now this looks right. Okay, so we'll put that there. Pull this down. Good. Okay, nice little butterfly thing going on. And we have our nice fun thing going on. And the cool thing about this now is that, remember, all this stuff is live. So even though this was a live font, I can continue to adjust it further. So let's really make this fun. Let's select these guys and pull it up a little bit. Maybe this guy, pull it down. This guy will pull it down too, so it's sort of like a matching. So the font matches. Yeah, those are pretty close. There we go. And you know what? This thing right here, we can select this and make it a little, you know, I don't want to do that one because it pulls out the shape of the circle. So let me just select the top part of this guy and make it bigger too. So that looks a little more fun. Cool. Very good. Love it. Love it. And remember too, these are still live text objects. So if I do need to come back in here and double click, and I can still come back in and maybe add a little bit more spacing like this. And when I come back, see all the edits are still there. The fun part, of course, is that this is now ready to be made into an object style. So if I come down here to object styles, these guys are selected, and go swatch, save object style. It's going to, this is our fun style. It's going to make this and save it into a swatch down here at the bottom. So now I can reuse it over and over again. So say we come along, let's just say we started off with a new project, and we came in here and we said, okay, grab me, and now we'll do house. We'll type the word house and add a little spacing to that. Say OK, and come down here and drag this object style on there, and bang, it's that fast. The whole thing is set up. Remember we moved this up a little bit. You know, you can even use your arrow keys to nudge this up and down. So we'll move that one up Maybe make this match here too. House. I think one more click on that will make it about match. So there we go. We now have house set up the way that we had fun set up. So basically there you go. That's how fast and easy this is to work with, and that's how you make your own custom bevels.